Hello and welcome to Manifesting 101. I am Crystal Caracciolo, and if you're watching this video, it's because you are ready to start taking control of your life and getting a step-by-step system that's going to help you to do that. Now, a lot of my work has been based around law of attraction, and so wherever you are in your journey, whether you've just found out about law of attraction and started to hear buzzwords about it and want to know more about it, or if you've been in this sort of realm of it for a very long time and you just need a refresher course, wherever you are in your journey, I can almost guarantee you that the step-by-step system that I'm going to give you to start changing your life and bringing great things into your life is going to work for you. And I say almost because at the end of the day, you're going to have to do the work, right? And this is work, but it's fun work and it's good work. And it's work that is going to help you to change from within so that your outer world can change. So first things first, I want to make sure that you have your worksheet in front of you. So if you don't, I want you to pause this and print out your worksheet. I want you to find a quiet space where you're not going to be disturbed, where you're able to put your full focus into what we're going to do and how we're going to break this down. I'm going to break down each step little by little, explaining how it works and why this is going to bring things into your life. And I just want to make sure that you're committed to this, that you're committed to this time for yourself to start taking responsibility for things that are happening outside of you. And I've been practicing this for 7 years now, deliberately, right? We're always creating, we're always seeing things in our life that are happening and knowing that in some way that this is happening because of things that we're thinking and feeling. But for 7 years now, I've been truly focused on making changes in my life using this system, right? And I was always using this system, but I didn't know that I was using this system, and just kind of taking things from different spiritual teachers that I was learning from, Dr. Wayne Dyer, Abraham Hicks, Louise Hay, Bashar, Deepak Chopra, like going through the spiritual changes that I was learning from them, and then starting to kind of understand, wow, that there's more to this, that there's a neuroscience to this, that there's actually things that are happening in the brain and the subconscious that are allowing these changes to happen, and sort of diving more into that with Dr. Joe Dispenza and John Azraf and other science-based material that is backing up the spiritual end of it, right? So we have this merge that I think is truly happening. And for me, it's exciting because I love both. I love this connection to source and this spiritual mindset. And then I also love to understand why this is happening and what that connection is. But I felt like there really wasn't anything that was bringing them both together in one place until I sat down and started to look at all of the teachings of everyone that I was learning from and seeing consistencies and seeing things that had to happen in order for changes to happen. And so I created this for you and for myself, now that I do it consciously, right? I was kind of doing it before, just not knowing I was doing it, but created this for you so that you can start to apply this every single day in your life and start to change your vibration and start to bring yourself up to a place where you're attracting great things into your life. Since doing this, so many things have changed in my life, and I'm not going to bore you with all of it, but changes in my finances, changes in my love life, got married, met an amazing man, moved to a much better place than where I was before, job opportunities, career opportunities, business opportunities, clients, friends, things, that health, so many things in my life changed when I started to really shift my focus to what I wanted and where I wanted to be. And that continues to happen, right? It's never going to be an end game. There's always more, there's always changes, there's always new desires. So for me, this has been a journey that I can't keep to myself. This has been lessons and things that I absolutely do not want to keep in a box and not share with anybody, because there's plenty out there. There is enough for everyone. There is enough money. There is enough love. There is enough anything that you are desiring out there. And so I want you to have that. Okay. So find your quiet space, get in the zone, put your headphones on. Let's dive into this. As we go through each step, I'm going to start to explain to you why they work and what this thing is doing when you're sitting down and you're writing this out. Okay, so first things first, I want you to have sort of a background of what we're going to do right now and set the intention for that. So my intention when we are done with this worksheet is that you are super clear about what it is that you want your life to change and that you have these steps to do that. So the first thing I want you to do right now, and you're going to need to pause this, is sit down and ask yourself, what do I want? But first, I want you to pick one area in your life right now that you would want to change. So a lot of the times it's between finances, career and business, love and relationships, or health. Those are usually the 4 main focuses, but it doesn't have to be. There might be something outside of that that you want, but I want you to zero in on one of those topics and sit with yourself, pause it if you have to, and ask yourself, what do I want? Now, I want this sentence to be very clear, very specific, yet general. And I know that that sounds contradicting, and it is, but it has to be a sentence that resonates with you. So for example, if in your finances you want to increase your income, it would be something like, I want to double my income, or I want to triple my income, or I want to bring in more abundance into my life, right? For your love life or relationships, let's say you're trying to attract someone new into your life, you want a relationship. I want to have a fulfilling, loving, committed relationship. If you have a relationship that you want to improve in your life, you might say, I want to improve the current relationship I have and feel fulfilled, right? Or feel whatever it is that you're looking to fulfill. If you're trying to improve in your business or in your career or whatnot, whatever promotions or improve the business that you already have, you might say, I want to see my business flourish. I want to move up in my career. I want to get a promotion, right? All of these things that are very simple, yet very clear. For your health, you might say something like, I want to feel healthy, alive, and vibrant, or I want to be more mobile, or I want to have more vibrancy in my life. So those are just some examples. You can pause, you can sort of think about what it is you want. It might be things like maybe a move, maybe you want to move to a new place, or you want a house, or you want a material thing, and you'll just simply say that, I want to have a new house, I want to have a new car. But something tells me that you're gonna want to go a little deeper than that, that we're not gonna just kind of focus on like a little material thing. I want you to think bigger. I want you to think in terms of something that really shift your life and change the course of how you're living your life. So take a few minutes to do that. Sit with yourself for a moment and let this be something that give yourself a time frame between now and say the end of the year. So wherever we are in the year, give yourself maybe that full year. So now you're watching this in April, but other people may be watching it in a different month. Give yourself a full year that it's tangible for you. Now that doesn't mean that it's going to take a year. It just means that I want it to be something that you can start to see changing in the next few weeks, few months, and the year. It might happen in 3 weeks. It might happen in 4 months. It might happen, it's going to come to you as quickly as you align with it, which we're going to get into. So do that right now. Pause this, think about it, get a clear statement about what you want. And what you might find is that it's actually a little bit difficult to decide what you want, right? When somebody says, what do you want? You kind of have an idea. You have a million things. I want you to pick one thing that you want to focus on right now. Pause this, go, fill it in. Okay. If you pause it, you're back. So the second thing we're going to think about, okay, is why you want this thing. So you wrote this thing, you figured out what you wanted, you wrote it out. Now I want you to think about why you want it, right? And we have their why power. And I want you to think about this why power because this is what starts to drive emotion and energy, okay? Emotions create motion, right? So they're energy and motion. So where we're putting our focus, we're going to have a lot of energy starting to get into that. And that's why a lot of people don't see things happening in their lives because they're not focused. They're kind of jumping around to a bunch of different things that they want and they desire, but you've picked one thing now. So you're already on that path. Now I want you to think about why you want it. Right? What's going to change in your life if you had that? What are the things that are going to really start to transform in your life if you have this. Because if you want this, there's a reason why you want it, right? And a lot of times we don't focus on the reason that we want it. We're just focused on we're just focused on what we want, and in a state of lack. But if we start to focus on why we want something, we start to give reason to our mind. We start to give reason to our soul, to our vibration. Okay, why? Why do I want this? What would change in your life? Okay, what would really start to, when you looked out into your life, if this thing happened, what are the places in your life that you would see the most change? So pause this, take a few minutes, start to write that in. And what I don't want you to do is start to go ahead. It's going to be really, really tempting to just go ahead to the next thing. But I want you to stop at each, because as we go through each, I want to explain to you certain things when we do that. So pause this, start to write it out. What would change in your life if you had what you want? And we're back. So now we're going to jump into what emotions you will feel when you will have it. Now, here's where we start to get starting deeper into what we want and why we want it. Because at the end of the day, yes, we want the things that we want, but we want them because of how they will make us feel. And if we start to look at what are the ways that our emotions will change when we have this, now we start to bring our focus even narrower into how we can start to bring this into our life. And I'm going to explain this a little bit as we go on. So I want you to pick 5 top emotions that you're going to feel if this thing happened in your life. And obviously, they're going to be positive, right? So I want you, even as you're writing them out, even as you're starting to think about it, wow, I'm there. I have this. This is what's changed in my life. How do I feel now that these things are here? Because as we change our vibration from where we are right now, that's when we start to send the signal out of the things that we want and why we want them, and get clear about that frequency. And this is going to start to change things. And again, I'm going to dive more into that as we go on. So 5 emotions, true emotions that you're going to feel once this thing that you want is in your life. Once it's here, how do you feel? Pick 5 emotions. Go. And the next thing you're going to do is you're going to talk about where you already feel those emotions now. So chances are some of these emotions that you express were happiness, joy, contentment, security, compassion, love, passion, whatever it is. And the truth is that there are areas in your life where you are already feeling those things. So I want you to look at those words that you wrote, look at those emotions that you wrote, and find places in your life where you already feel those things. So if it was things like love, or things like security, or things like abundance, or things like fulfillment, there are already things in your life that are causing you to feel those emotions. So what I want you to do is to start to see that you don't need this thing that you want right now in order to feel those emotions. So dive deep into it. Take that first word, whatever that first word is, put a dash. Where do you already feel that on a daily basis? Where do you already feel that consistency? I can guarantee you that you're feeling that in other parts of your life. So I want you to get clear about where you are already feeling those things, and you can find them. There's also, I just realized you have in your past too, right? So maybe right now you can't find that, right? Maybe you're like, oh man, I don't have any joy right now, like, which is really hard. But if you really don't have that, think about in the past, where have you experienced that joy, or whatever it is that you're not feeling right now? Where have you experienced in that past? What were some of the things that you were feeling in the past that emitted that emotion, right? Just proving to yourself that you can have this emotion right now, because as you write it, you're going to feel that. You're going to feel that emotion coming up. You're going to remember that memory. You're going to feel whatever it is, if it's in the present tense, as though it's right now. I want you to get there. Okay, so take some time and do that with those 5. Pause. And we're back. So next up, we're going to talk about visualization. And this is where things are going to start to really move forward, okay? Programming our subconscious mind comes down to having a place where we are headed, Okay, our mind works like a GPS system. Okay, if we put in a destination and we put that we lock it in, our mind and our body and our soul and everything in between is going to find a way to get there, but it has to be given a picture. It has to be given an address. It has to be given a destination. And this part of the brain, this is the reticular activating system. And Tony Robbins talks about this. John Azrath talks about this. You may have heard the example of when you are shopping for a car, you're interested in a car, and you start to see that car everywhere, right? You think like, oh man, I was just going to buy this car and now I see it everywhere. It was always there, right? It was always on the streets. It was always being driven by other people. But now that you're focused on possibly buying it or someone else you know has bought it, now you're seeing it more because it's in your state of awareness. So visualization is exactly that, okay? It's a point where it sticks a picture into your subconscious, and it says, okay, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm searching for. And so what's going to start to happen is you may hear things you haven't heard before, see things you haven't heard before, or see things you haven't seen before, or you may come into contact with other people that you normally wouldn't have come into contact with, and they're able to give you something that's going to help you to get closer to your desire and what you want, right? So visualization, I truly want you to think of it as a stamp, as an address, as a destination of where it is that you want and need to go, because when you do that, your subconscious does not see anything else. It doesn't see the problems. It doesn't see the roadblocks or anything that's there. You are creating that, right? You start to doubt. You start to have this idea that, oh man, like I can't do that, or I can't get there because this problem or that problem, or I would need this or I would need that. I want you to forget about that for now. I want you to just focus on, once you have your desire, what does it look like? Where are you? What are you doing? What smells? What smells do you smell? What things do you hear? What people are around you? How are you in your own body acting? How are you presenting yourself in your life? I don't want you to think about the how, guys. I don't want you to start to, it's very easy when you start to imagine things like, oh, but I would need this. Oh, but I would need that, and I don't have that. But how would I get there? And how would I do this? I just want you to go to the end result, right? All that middle in-between stuff, I need you to trust that it's going to be figured out. And by the time we're done with all of this, that trust is going to be there. But I need you to just go to the end result, that end destination. What does it look like? What does it feel like? What are you doing? What are you seeing? Who is around you? What is your life like now that you have it? Okay? And write it out. Get into it. Take the time. Go. And you're back. So now, as you were writing out your visualization, as you were writing out everything that you were seeing, I can almost guarantee there were a few things that came up. Maybe you really got into it and you didn't feel that, but maybe there were some beliefs that started to come up of why that's not possible or why you can't have that. So in order for us to move forward in our desires and to really have our desires come into our life, we've got to start to go back, and we've got to start to see where there's some hidden roadblocks in there, okay? Because the destination, the subconscious is going to see that destination, it's going to see what you put in your GPS, but there may be some traffic, and there may be some construction, and there may be some things in the way that need to be moved around, right? And what happens on your GPS when that happens? It may show you a faster route. So think of rewiring your beliefs as finding a faster route, okay? And sort of getting rid of that construction, getting rid of that traffic, okay? Because that's what a negative and a limited belief does, okay? It slows down the path to your destination. So what I want you to think about is some of the beliefs that might have came up, or some of the things that have come up in the past when you think about this, so why you can't have it. And it's okay to go here, right? Because we're gonna change it. We're gonna fix it. We're gonna rewire it. But in order to see what we need to do, we need to know what the problem is, right? So you're going to bring that up, right? What are some limiting beliefs? Why do you think that it's not possible? Why do you think that you can't have it? Is it time frame? Is it money? Is it people? Is it ideas that you don't have, or places that you feel like you're not at yet? What are some of the roadblocks? What are some of the construction sites on the way to your destination that you start to feel come up when you've daydreamed or you've thought about, or even when you've written your visualization right now of places where you think that you can't have it, right? This is a huge thing a lot of time with money. People think that they can't have abundance because of childhood thoughts and things that they've heard about money or thought about money or love, or in any areas of our lives. We've heard all of these things from other people. Or seeing things. I want you to dig them up, bring them up to the surface. Okay, why don't you think it's possible? Why do you think it's difficult? Why do you think you can't have it? Go. And we're back. So now's the fun part, because we're going to look at these beliefs and we're going to slash them, right? We're going to take the time to look at these and see where they came from. See why they're there. Why are these limiting beliefs even occupying our time and space and our mindset? Because they should not be there. So I want you to start to rewire them, okay? So if you were to have what you wanted, right, and you look back on the beliefs of why you can't have it, I want you to change it now to what would you have to believe in order to have it? What are some of the things that would have to change about your mindset about this thing that you're wanting? So when have you a previous, if it's something that you're going for, right, that seems really difficult for you, I want you to go back and have proof to yourself, like, and see, okay, like, where have I accomplished other things before? Where have I done this before? When have these things been possible for either myself in the past in other forms of situations or other people, right? And I know that other people sounds like, oh, well, those are them and they're not me. But if something is possible for someone else, then it is possible for you too, right? It's just they found their way. You got to find your way. So start looking at some of these beliefs you have and kind of call them out, right? Like, where did they come from? Are they true just because someone else said it or thought it? Are they true because I'm thinking it? Like, no, there's obviously ways that we can go around things. So I want you to give yourself proof of why these things are possible, because I can almost guarantee that you haven't done this, right? You haven't told yourself why it's possible. You haven't told yourself why you're capable of having this thing or doing this thing. So dig deep with that, okay? Are others doing it or living it, right? We have on the sheet. Have you manifested other things before? Have there been things before, prior, whether you're, again, new to this or not, where deliberately or unconsciously, you've wanted something and you didn't think you could have it and it happened, right? Where have you proven to yourself before that it's possible for you to create things, right? We've got to remind ourselves that when we start to send our subconscious proof of, hey, guys, listen, this is possible, right? We've gone there before. We've done this in another way. We've accomplished this. We've accomplished that. We start to give ourselves a rise in our vibration, right? We start to remind ourselves that things are possible. And it may just be things that you've accomplished. It may just be things that you thought you couldn't do at one time and now you're doing them. But dig deep into that. Why is this possible? When have you showed up as a badass in your life and created something that was difficult, right? Or done something that was difficult, or people told you that wasn't possible and then it happened or it did it? Go there. Dig deep. This is huge, guys. This is probably, if anything, the biggest thing that you're going to really have to concentrate on, changing those belief systems, because consciously you may say you want something. Consciously you may say you're going to do something, and then you go and then you're doing it. And this is where procrastination starts to come in. This is where more lack starts to come in. This is where inconsistency starts to come in, because you may have a goal, or you may have an intention, or you may have a desire that you're wanting and you're believing that you can have. But deep down inside, there's all of these thoughts of why you can't have it. So if we can change that, if we can go into that subconscious and we can start to say, hey, buddy, this is why it's possible and it's going to be possible, then we're making moves. Then we're starting to change things. So go do that, hit pause, and do it. And back. Step 5, next thing, transformation. Okay, now we've got to take some action, right? We have gotten clear about what we want. We have said why we want it. We have given it emotion. We have looked at our belief systems, transmuted those. Now I want you to think about what you're going to have to do in your everyday life, what you're going to have to believe and think and feel and do every single day in order to get to that place that you want to go, because we do have to take inspired action. I say inspired action because it can't just be a regular action, right? It can't just be forced. Sometimes hard work isn't enough. It's there and you need it, but it has to be inspired. It has to come from a place where you're doing it feeling good. So I want you to think about some of the things that you can start to do in your life now that may get you closer to your desire and your want. And it could be little things, it could be big things, but most importantly, I want you to ask yourself, who are you going to have to become in order to have those things, right? So we have to change now, right? We change from the inside out. The outside does not change the inside. The inside changes the outside. So when we start to think like the person that has this desire already, when we start to feel like the person that has this desire already, when we start to take actions of the person that has this desire already, then things start to shift, because not only are we getting into alignment with that, but we're also telling the universe we are ready, right? We are feeling that. So the person that has the thing that you want, right? That version of you, because there are multiple versions of you that can come to be, right? The version that you are right now came from who you were before. The person that you're going to become is coming from who you are right now. So who is this person, this version of you, right? Who are they in the desire that you want and the thing that you want? What are they doing? How are they acting? What are they feeling? What are their habits? What are they doing on a daily basis? What are they thinking about daily basis? I can guarantee you, if they have what you want and you have what you want in that reality, that you're not thinking about lack. You're not in a state of fear. You're not thinking that it's not possible. You're not just sitting on the couch and not doing anything. When you're having thoughts of the things that you have, you're feeling good, you're feeling energetic, you're feeling energy, you're feeling a positive state of emotion. Okay, so who are you? Who are you in that version of yourself that has everything that you want? Okay, and I promise you at the end of this, we're going to tie this all in together. I'm going to explain everything in one place, but just get clear, right? Who do you have to become in order to be that person? What habits do you have to adopt? What things do you have to start to think and feel and change in your life right now? Go. And we're back to allow now. So now that we're in a place where kind of believe a little bit more of what we need and want to do in order to get to where we want to go. We've looked at our desires, we've looked at our wants, we've looked at our whys, we've looked at the things that have to change. Okay, now we're going to start to have to allow this in, because a lot of the times, most of the time, we are keeping this desire, we are keeping the thing that we are wanting away from us because we're in a state of lack. We're in a state of thinking that we don't have it, it's not here, it's not enough, I don't have this, I don't have that. And so in order to receive, we have to be in a place of gratitude. We have to be in a place of accepting of all of the things that can possibly come to us. And we do that from a state, like my cat here that wants to get out of the room. We do that from a state of being grateful for what we already have. Okay, so we're going to look at, what are you currently grateful for, right? What's working in your life right now? We're going to put ourselves in a state of complete and utter gratitude for everything that's working out. And I always compare this to like a relative or a parent, right, who keeps giving a gift to a child, let's say, and they give them to the gift and the kid just goes, yeah, thanks, and throws it away. Are you going to be, or is that person going to be in a place where they want to continue to give a gift to this child? Absolutely not, because this child is not grateful. They're not even taking the gift and doing anything with it and saying thank you. So I want you to think of the universe a little bit like that, right? The universe is going to give you what you are accepting, and it's going to give you more when you're in a state of gratitude. So what are the things that are working in your life right now? It doesn't even have to be related to your desire, right? It's just, what are the things that are working in your life? What are the things that are going right? What are the things that are giving you those warm, fuzzy feelings. And it could be something so simple, right? So simple as the roof over your head, which isn't really simple. It's actually a huge thing, okay? But roof over your head, warm water, food on the table, your pets, your kids, your family, your husband, your job, you know, parts of your job or things that you're doing. What fills you? What makes you say, wow, I am so, so blessed, okay? And as you're writing these things out, you're going to start to feel really good. And you're going to start to remember like, wow, I have so much in my life. And you're going to put yourself in that state of receiving. So do that. Dive into that right now. And we're back. So now that you have all of these steps and you have written out everything, now is the nitty-gritty, okay? This is where you're going to start to apply this step-by-step system every single either morning or night. If you can do it both, fantastic. But I want you to commit to, and we're going to go through this right now, to a time where you can sit. I want you to go out, buy a beautiful notebook, okay? A brand new clean slate notebook just for you, okay? That's your own. You probably have 10 notebooks. I know I have 10 notebooks. I have vortex books. I have dream books. I have goals. I have a gazillion notebooks. Okay, but I do have one specifically for this step-by-step plan. So I want you to go out and I want you to buy one and I want you to sit down and I want you to commit to every single day. Okay, this depending on how good you are at writing, depending on how easy that flows to you. It depends how long this is going to take, but I want you to take at least a half hour, at least a half hour. Can you find a half hour in your day? Okay. If you can do this in the morning before you start your day, guys, this is going to be more powerful because you have not gone out into the world with all of the distractions and all the things bombarding your head. Your subconscious mind is still very receiving of new information and new things that it can believe. So if you can do this in the morning, first thing, right, just get in your spot, get in your space, grab your book, light some incense or a candle, grab your tea, right? Be really new agey. Then this is going to work for you in such a powerful way that I can't even begin to explain to you. Okay, so find that time. Start on Monday. Okay, we're going to commit. We're going to be accountable. We're going to be doing this together. I want you to say, okay, I might have to get up a little bit earlier to do this. Or instead of watching the news or instead of, scrolling Facebook or checking emails or doing these things, I'm going to do this first. I'm going to do this before anything else grabs my attention. And if you can't do it in the morning, you're going to do it at night. Same thing. You're going to disconnect from the TV, disconnect from the phone, disconnect from social media, disconnect, put yourself in a space where you're able to really start to write this out. Okay, so you're going to sit. You're going to get in there. You're going to focus. Now, what you want is going to turn into an affirmation. Okay, because when we start anything with I want, automatically there is a vibration of lack. Right? When you want something, it's something that you don't have yet. And we want to change that. Okay? So we're going to change whatever you wrote for I want to an affirmation stating, I am so happy and grateful now that. Okay? So whatever your want was, get rid of the I want part and start your statement with this. I am so happy and grateful now that. And write it out. Write out that full thing. After you do that, it feels so good too. And just let it flow, right? Let come out what's ever going to come out. It feels so good to feel. It feels so good to do. It feels so good to be able to. It feels so good to be surrounded. It feels so right. Like, let that follow. I don't know what that is for you, but once you write out, I am so happy and grateful now that whatever it is that you want is here, okay, present tense. It feels so good too. Write that out. You're going to feel that, okay? So take some time right now. Write that out on your sheet, okay? I am so happy and grateful now that it feels so good too, okay? And we're changing this from a want to an affirmation like this, that I am so happy and grateful now that, so that we're out of that state of lack. We're in that place as if it's already here, okay? When you sit down to write this, that's where you need to be. Everything that you're going to write down beside your gratitude list is going to be present tense, okay? You're going to put yourself in a vibration, okay? Vibration is just what you're emitting a frequency out. It's just your emotions, okay? If you're at high emotions, if you're at happiness and fulfillment and joy and enlightenment and expectancy and courage, you're vibrating very high. And I can guarantee you that wherever you are in your future, in your desire, that's how you're feeling because you have that desire, okay? So we're chasing that feeling. We're chasing that emotion more than anything, okay? So this is going to get you there. If you're low, if you're very low and you're in shame and you're in fear and you're in guilt and regret, then you're not going to attract this thing where you feel happy because you're emitting a different frequency. So this frequency, this gratitude for this present tense right now and putting you in that is going to start to attract that reality into your life. So go. Pause it and go. And welcome back. Next thing, so you've got that written out. You've got all of that out. Happy and grateful now that it feels so good. Start writing. Why is it possible? Those things that we went back to your belief systems, we don't have to worry about the limiting beliefs anymore. We're going to focus on why it's possible, things you've done before, past accomplishments, other manifestations that you've had, other things that you thought were impossible that happened, things that people told you you couldn't have and then you had. You're going to freaking prove to your subconscious and to yourself right now in writing, okay, that this is possible. So in your morning routine, that's what you're starting with. I am so happy and grateful now that it feels so good too. Here, this is possible because I have done this before. This has happened before. I have accomplished this. These are the things that have changed so far. These are the great things that have come in my life since focusing, right? You're giving proof to that. So you're writing, it's really just gonna, and if you're a writer, like I'm a writer. So when you're doing this, you're gonna see that like all of these things start to come up and you're gonna be on a roll, right? Things are gonna start to happen. So you're gonna be writing that out. Next thing, you're gonna pause and you come back and you're gonna write out just like we did before. What are the actions that you are gonna take today to get closer to that thing that you want, right? They might be little micro changes, but who are you in that future? How can you be that now, right? Sometimes we don't need things to change around us to act like the person that we have there now, okay? So what are the things that you can think, you can feel, you can say? How can you present yourself? What actions can you take right now to be like that future self that has that desire? Okay, so I want you to commit to that and in the morning to say to yourself, okay, like I'm going to show up in my life today and be this person that I'm saying that I want to be, that has this thing. I'm going to do the things that I would be doing if I was already there, even if it's just thinking about it, right? Maybe you physically can't do those things, but you're going to think about that. You're going to think throughout the day. You're not going to say, I don't have this and I don't have that. And I wish I had this and I wish I had that. You're going to focus on, wow, it feels great that I have this. It feels great that, and it's going to be difficult because you're going to say to yourself, well, I don't have it yet, Crystal. So how can I do that? But that's where the next thing, the visualization and the gratitude is going to come in. Okay, so again, write that out, paragraph form. I know it seems like it's repetitive, but we're doing this again for a reason. I'm going to explain that at the end of everything. Okay, so pause it. What are you doing? What are you thinking? And back. Last thing you're going to do, second to last thing you're going to do, now your visualization. So just like we wrote it out before, you're going to write it out again. What are you doing? What are you experiencing? What are you seeing? What are you doing? Because now this is going to be something that you're going to be doing every single day, right? So you're going to be, what happens if you have Google, right? And you have your GPS, what happens on your phone when you've gone to a place that you've continuously gone multiple times? It'll start to either save it, okay, in your save searches, or it'll give you the option to put where you're always going because you're always going there, right? So this is what you're doing with your visualization. So you're writing this out every single day in this form, giving yourself that repetition, telling your mind, this is where we're going, mind. This is telling your subconscious, this is the goal. This is where we're heading. Nothing else is going to stop us. We have our beliefs already rewired. I'm helping you to get there because we're making decisions that we need to make to get there. This is where we're going. Okay, so you're writing that out. Last thing is your gratitude lesson. You're ending with gratitude every single morning, okay? When you walk out of this, when you are out of your routine of these steps, you are walking out feeling so damn good that nothing can change your day. Okay, you are looking for the good in your life in every single moment. You are getting in your car, you are thankful for your car. You are driving, you get to where you are going, you say, thank you so much that I got here safe and sound. You are praying over your food and saying, thank you for this food that I have. Thank you for this company that I have. Thank you for this job that I have. Thank you for these people that I have. Thank you for this phone that I have for connection. Thank you for these clothes that I have in my back, right? You're starting with these small things, right? You take a shower in the morning. Thank you for this warm water. Thank you for this water. How many people don't have water? For God's sake, like, we're living in a world where if you have access to this, then chances are you have access to a lot of other things that people do not have access to. Okay, so getting into that vibe where you're just like, wow, I'm so grateful for these things that are happening in my life, right? So you're writing those things out. And at the end, you're ending with the affirmation, I am open to receiving. And you're letting it go, right? You're just, right? I don't care how it comes, which way it comes, from where it comes. I'm not going to worry about the how because that's not my problem. I am open to receiving, right? And that gives this door to open up to any possibility of the way that this desire can come, okay? And if you've really committed to this, and if you've really sat down to this every single morning, what you're doing is you're repatterning your brain, okay? You're reprogramming from doubt, from fear, from lack, from wishing and hoping and wanting to giving your mind a picture of where you're headed and what you want, where you're going, giving yourself proof of why it's possible, getting yourself in a state of receiving so that it comes to you and it's able to make its way for you because you're already seeing the good. You're already experiencing that good, high, connected feeling of where you want to be right now, even though it's not for that desire yet. And that's the only way, guys, that we are going to get to these desires when we level up, when we keep wanting more, is to rise ourselves up, right? To come from a state of fear and lack and shame and guilt and uncertainty and start to believe in ourselves and start to believe that it's possible and start to look at the things that are working out and starting to do actions and habits that are facilitating where we would want to be, right? This stuff does not happen from just sitting on the couch and hoping and wishing. It's not going to happen like that, right? We have to be showing up too. And just by doing these exercises, just by sitting down and breaking this down every morning and writing out and getting into these steps every single day, you are going to be sending that signal, that GPS signal to your reticular activating system, to that end zone of where you want to be. And you're going to show up in your life feeling stronger, feeling better, feeling full of gratitude, feeling exciting, feeling hopeful. And it's going to take time. It's not going to happen the first day that you do it. It probably isn't going to happen the first week. But as you start to write this every day, as you start to really get into this and feel this every day, and you become almost a little bit obsessed with this feeling before it's here, right? When we're looking at all the ways in that we already feel those things now, when we're giving ourselves really, truly giving ourselves reason to say, wow, I don't need this thing to happen for me to feel the things that I would feel if this thing happened. That's when it happens, right? That's when the little things start to show up. That's when you overhear something or you see something or someone reaches out to you. I can't begin to explain to you all of the synchronicities that happen to me when I put my focus and I put all my eggs in a jar and I say, okay, like this is what I want. And I start to see all these things line up, right? I'm receptive to it because I'm in a state of gratitude. I'm in a state of receiving. I'm in a state of believing that it's possible. Okay, so focus on this. Focus on this every day. You're going to commit to 21 days of doing this, okay? We're going to do this together. We're going to show up every single day, sharing that we're doing it, sharing any roadblocks that we're getting, working on some of the belief patterns and the systems. I'm going to go a little bit deeper into those things and what needs to change and how we can break those things up. But as we go through these next 21 days, we're going to get very clear. We're going to get into alignment and you're going to see that your vibration is starting to rise. You're going to see that once you focus on something and you give your energy to it and you give your emotion to it, that your frequency right now connects with the frequency of the version of you that has that in the future. And again, this sounds, depending where you are in your journey, right, and how much you know about this stuff, it can seem a little woohoo and it can seem a little like kind of new agey, but it's both, right? We're reprogramming our mind. We have this pattern of habit of thought that goes on in our mind that tells us that we can't have things and do things. And so we've got to go in there and we've got to repattern that. And then we've also got to be connecting to that part of us that's aware of our energy and aware of the way that we're thinking and aware of the way that we're feeling, because the better it gets, the better it gets. The worse it gets, the worse it gets, right? We can see this unfold in our lives, right? When shit hits the fan and everything is going wrong, we're expecting it to go wrong because one thing went wrong, and then we focused on how it went wrong, and then the next thing goes wrong. But then if we can shift that, wow, look what's working, look what's going right, look what's happening, like, wow, this is amazing, right? There's been these explosions, I can personally say, in my life where like everything good has just happened at one time, like everything is just working out and everything is just focused. And I know that that's because of the way that I've thought. I know that that's the way of, because I feel, because I've been sitting down and I've been focused on this. So I'm so excited to do this journey with you guys. I get that notebook, sit there, get that time, make this commitment, because if you want something to change in your life, whatever that one thing that you chose that you truly want to change in your life, I can guarantee you it will come. It will come to you if you are doing these things, okay? And we're going to do this together, and we're going to focus on this together. And there's things that I want, right? Like I have my want and my desire, and I have the thing that I'm working on. I'm working on it with you as well. So let's do this, guys, right? Let's get this going. Let's do what we know that we're capable of, which is changing our lives by changing the way that we're thinking, by changing the way that we're doing things, and having this clear set, nice step system, right? That connects our brain, that connects our spirit, that corrects our body, that connects everything together between our actions that we have to do, our thoughts that we have to think, and our feelings that we have to feel, because those are the three things that if we are focused on, they will bring us our reality. So I hope that this has been beneficial for you. Take this time. Let's do this. Let's get some manifesting going, and let's continue on this journey to greatness together.